Hello, good people of the Bronx and beyond. My name is Henry Ovalles, and I'd like to welcome you to A Life in Art. This is our first show, and we are very excited to share our program with you today. Our aim is to bring you engaging and personal conversations with actors, dancers, singers, musicians, and other performing artists who you may not be familiar with. People who have been working on their craft for at least a decade and are at a crossroads where passion meets necessity, but whose talent and quality of work cannot be denied. We'll talk about their joys and fears, their big breaks so far, and moments they could have done without. For artists, facing the struggles of practical life often comes with the territory of pursuing a dream. We will discuss creativity and inspiration, but also ask questions such as, where's this month's rent coming from? How much longer can I continue to perform for the love of the art? Can I feel fulfilled without my art? This is A Life in Art. Our guest today is a multi-talented performing artist who has been known to act, write, direct, manipulate puppets, and occasionally belt out a tune. But mostly he is known as a professional magician. Today we'll take a look at Eddie Ivan Torres' life in art.
It was bothering me. When I got here, it was just waving, you know? Let me get the other one, too. So I'm going to show you one very fast thing before I leave. This will be the last little thing. And this is probably the very first of these games, like this, these cheats, ever made illegal. Over 450 years old, from Central Europe. Here's what would happen. Simple move, but they're going to ask you, point to one of the balls, please. Just one. No, just one. That's two. I'm so sorry. Just take your money, they put it away. So they were very tricky back then. And even when you thought they weren't being tricky, and I'll show you, would you hold out your hand for me, please? Same exact game, but I'm going to let you hold him because I think that's a little fairer if we each have one. With your other hand, point to one of the balls. Mine? Are you sure? I'm so sorry. And they take your money and they put it away. You can open your head if you like.
And I slide them in.
Exactly. So now people know that I'm cheating, definitely. And I can leave it there, but I can see by the fire burning in your eyes, sir, that you want revenge for that last loss. So hold your hand just like so, and hold those very tightly. And all you have to do in order to win is tell me how many you have. And if you're right, you win the game.
Good question, but now I say 3.
3, that's a good number, though. It's logical. Turn it over, please. But not that. I'm never logical, believe me.
We're in the studio with Eddie Ivan Torres, E.T. Welcome to the show. Thanks for being the guinea pig, the first guest.
Thank you for having me.
Our pleasure. Now, in the credits, I forgot to mention lemonade enthusiast.
Yes.
I'm very sorry about that.
That's all right.
Where does that come from?
I like lemonade.
Any particular lemonade, or?
Just straight up sugar, water, lemon.
All right, sugar, water, lemon, keeping it simple. So E.T., you and I have actually been on stage together literally hundreds of times with the Children's Theater Company. I've directed you in shows, you've directed me in shows.
Yeah.
Why do you think it is that we put ourselves through that, getting on stage? What is it about it?
I think it's different for different people. When I used to start, I used to say, yeah, I'm an attention whore. That's what I need. I need attention. I didn't get it when I was a kid as much. Divorced parents, that kind of deal. I don't know exactly what it is. I think maybe there's a part of it. For me, I'm very shy, and you know that. If I don't know you, I'm not talking to people, my head is down, and I don't speak unless spoken to, that kind of thing. And I've always been really shy, and so when I perform, that's the only time I get to talk to people, express myself.
Yeah, and people find that interesting. People that aren't performers necessarily always think, oh, you're a performer, you're always on, you're you know, you're the life of the party, you're the one that's always gonna, you know, be put in front of people to talk and all of that, and it's not necessarily the case.
Not the case.
I know it's not with you, and it's not with me either, so.
And people say, oh, he's so arrogant, he's so full of himself sometimes, he won't even talk to me. And it's like, no, I'm scared to talk to you. That's all it is.
I'm just a little puppy, please.
Yeah.
I need to be pet. So let's start at the beginning. Where did you grow up? Where were you born?
Born in the Bronx, Einstein Hospital, December 9th, 1982.
All right.
10:30, chilly night.
So born and raised in the Bronx?
Born and raised in the Bronx, my whole life. Bronx Park East, Pelham Parkway, all that area, always.
Which schools did you attend?
Elementary school, I went to PS 105, and then I went to 135 for middle school, and then I went to Columbus for high school.
And then your college years?
In college years, I went to Bronx Community College, and then I transferred to Lehman College.
Yeah, so really true Bronx. You were just like going
Bronx, all the way, yeah.
all the way through. Cool. So when did the bug hit you? When did it first start to germinate that, art might be the thing for you?
I started, well, I've always been in art. My family has always sort of supported art. My father is a poet, a painter. Uncles are musicians, sculptors, so I've always had that in my family. I played an instrument. I started playing instruments, like, I think I played the flute for like, I didn't really play it. Like, I was in the band in elementary school, and then I just like never showed up. And then for the concert, I would show up, and I would just kind of mime, but I didn't know what I was doing. Then I did percussion, and then I did the Glee Club. That was all in elementary school.
Oh, wow, so you actually started more through the music route.
Yeah, very musical. And I took piano lessons, so I did a lot of music stuff.
So that's interesting. So you're saying that was within your family, so your parents sort of encouraged you to follow the arts?
Yeah. I mean, my mom and my dad were like, hey, we want to teach you an instrument. What do you want to learn? And they actually gave me private, or they took me to take private piano lessons. In school, I was always taking stuff, so I was always into that kind of thing.
That's awesome. How many siblings do you have?
I have 3 siblings, 1 older brother and 2 younger sisters.
And what do they do? Are they involved in the arts at all?
They're artistic. They are artistic, but they don't do it like for a living or anything. My brother's really good artist. He draws really well. My sister's a musician. My younger sister's, you will see what she's getting into now. She just turned 18, so we're gonna see what she wants to do. She's not so much artistically inclined right now, but who knows? I mean,
Right.
everyone in our family tends
That's
to be.
wild that she's 18. I remember her,
I
coming
know.
to see shows when she
So
was
tiny.
little.
I still tell her, you're like 12. How old are you? 12, 13? She's like 18.
When did that happen?
Yeah.
So that's interesting. Recently, I was listening to an interview with the comedian Dimitri Martin.
Uh-huh.
You know him? You
Yeah.
like him? Like his stuff?
Yeah, I like his show.
Yeah, so he was saying something about that as far as parents and the pursuit that they, the path that they put their kids onto. He was saying that a friend of his always said that laborers always wanted their kids to be merchants, business people. Business people want their kids to be professionals. Professionals want their kids to be professors, academics. Academics want their kids to be artists, and artists don't care what their kids are. So do you think that's kind of true with you, with your parents being artistic and sort of the path that they allowed you guys to go on and sort of motivated you to go on?
Yeah, I mean, they've always been super supportive of everything that I did. The only thing that they said was, you finish college and then you do whatever you want to do after that, but pursue anything. And so when I got into magic, they gave me money. I didn't have a job. I was 13, 14. So they gave me money to buy all my magic tricks all the time. Yeah, they were very supportive of everything, and they did encourage that I kind of do what I wanted to do. As long as I got the education, I had something to fall back on. That was their main concern.
Got it. So as we're talking about that, we have to mention, of course, that unfortunately your mom is no longer with us physically.
Yeah.
She passed away September 2013, was it?
Yeah, no, a year and a half ago. Yeah.
Wow, yeah. And I remember, her coming to see the shows that we would work on together.
Every
and
show.
Yeah, she was a bright light.
Yeah.
And even, I think, the last show that I remember her seeing, which was a puppet show, I think.
It was, yeah, she came to see Jack and the Beat. Was it Jack and no, Humpty Dumpty.
Humpty Dumpty, yeah.
Yeah.
And we'll talk a little bit more in our next segment about some of the shows that you've written and your love for puppeteering and all of that. But yeah, she was always just, a bright light and somebody who I loved coming to afterwards and, giving hugs and seeing her smile on her face. You could tell that she was so proud of you, so.
Thank you.
Yeah.
That means a lot.
And we're about to wrap up this first segment, but with that specifically, have you been able to process your mom's passing in your art yet? Have you used it in your art, or is it still too soon for that?
I have written a lot of stuff. I have a lot of things written down. I haven't yet found anything that to me was like, this is what I've got to put on. But I am building things, and I'm always writing things down that kind of reminds me of her and things she did. She had a favorite trick that I used to do that I really want to put into a good long show and really make it a spotlight, a centerpiece of that. But I haven't come up with it yet. I'm still working on it, but I am thinking about it.
Got it. All right, maybe a little bit later in the show we'll get you to do a trick for us. Not that one necessarily, but
Sure.
show the people what you got.
Yeah, I'd be happy to pizzazz them.
All right. So let's actually take this moment to take a break. We're going to take a quick break now, but we'll be back with more magical tales from Eddie Torres when we return. Right back after this.
Today, 1 out of every 4 American kids is Hispanic. Many of the future doctors who will care for us, the scientists and entrepreneurs of our country, can be your kids. And the Hispanic Scholarship Fund helps you prepare, plan, and pay for your kids' college education.
I already knew that I was gonna go to college, from a young age. I definitely want to major in political science, become the mayor or something, make the situation better for other people. My name is Justin, and I am your dividend.
Oh no, treachery is afoot. Treachery is afoot.
Welcome back to A Life in Art. We're here with magician Eddie Ivan Torres. Now, Eddie, I have to put the Ivan in there because even as we were prepping for the show, and I would say, oh yeah, my first guest is going to be my friend Eddie Torres. They'd say, oh, the salsa dancer?
Yeah.
So there is another Bronx-born, Bronx-raised famous artist, and who knows, maybe we'll have him on the show at some point. But does that affect you in your marketing throughout your career?
I've never been able to find myself on Google.
Ah.
It's just Eddie Torres, salsa dancer. Or you'll find like the New York Undercover character, Eddie Torres. Remember that show?
Yeah.
But I can't find myself on Google, so I was like, I can't just leave it Eddie Torres. I gotta put my middle name in there at least.
All right, so that's where Eddie Ivan comes. That's the stage name.
That's the stage name, Eddie
Have you
Ivan.
ever seen the salsa dancer perform, Eddie
Nope.
Torres? Okay.
Never.
I'd be curious to see if you've ever seen you do magic. Who knows? In the Bronx so many years, you may have crossed paths at some point.
I've met a lot of people that have met him, so I perform for people sometimes, and like, oh, what's your name? Eddie Torres. Oh, like the salsa dancer? Yeah.
Heard that one before.
Yep.
Yeah, thanks a lot.
Uh-huh.
So before we move on, I want to talk to you a little bit about, what some of your favorite shows have been that you've worked on and how you create, your shows. And specifically, I want to talk about magic. But let's go back to your parents a little bit. So how old were you when you mentioned earlier that they divorced? How old were you when they divorced?
I feel like I was 7 when they separated. I was in the 2nd grade, so I was 7, I believe. I don't remember exactly when they divorced officially, but they were separated by the time I was 7. Maybe when I was like 9 or 10.
Got it. And how's your relationship with your dad?
It's all right. There's ups and downs with my dad. But
Your father is quite a character.
he is.
I must say.
He is. He's very out there. He's very eccentric sometimes. He's a good man.
Yeah. So you're saying his artistic passions are what? If you can
Poetry mostly. He's a poet, and he's always working on poetry. Whenever I go over, I got this new piece, and he reads his poetry to me. It's really good. It's all in Spanish, and it's a little long-winded sometimes for me.
Right.
But I like it. I love that he's still working on his art. That passion for me is awesome to see.
Yeah, and you live it every day also.
Yeah.
So when you talk about in Spanish, you actually perform in Spanish, as do I. We're bilingual. What's the connection there? Both of your parents Puerto Rican?
Mm-hmm. Both my parents are Puerto Rican.
Born in Puerto Rico?
They were both born in San Sebastián, Puerto Rico.
All right, so you're first generation, you and your siblings.
Yep.
As far as born here
Yeah.
in the United States.
Yeah, my brother was born over there. I'm the first one of us to be born here in New York.
Got it. And is that something that you see in your art or something that touches you? When you think about Puerto Rico or hear the coqui, is that something that, let me rephrase the question. Let me ask it this way. There aren't many performers that were born here in New York that can speak and perform in Spanish fluently the way that you do. So there must be something there that, that you felt it was important to pick that language up. Is that the case, or am I off base?
I learned Spanish before I learned English.
I see.
They spoke Spanish at home all the time, so
Got
I
it.
actually didn't learn English super well until I got to school. I watched Sesame Street and all the PBS shows and that, but mostly when I was in school, and it took me a long time. They thought something was kind of off on me because it took me a while to learn to read and write because I had both of them kind of confused.
Got it.
But yeah, I learned Spanish first, so I've always known Spanish. I've always spoken to my parents in Spanish.
All right, so let's get to the meat of it then. So you started with music. When did magic come into your life? Was it a magic kit that you bought at a store? Was it a TV show that you saw?
My mother got me a magic kit. I was maybe 13, 13 maybe, just turned 14, something like that. So I was kind of old for magic. Usually when kids start getting into magic, they're 7, 8, a little older, but I've always been into kind of weird kind of stuff like that. And like I said, very shy.
Right.
But I went into school and I had these 2 tricks, and no one used to really talk to me. I was always kind of the loner kid, and I did this little trick, and everyone was like, "Wow, that's amazing!" And suddenly I got all this attention.
Do you remember what the first trick was?
I had like 2 or 3 tricks. I remember one of them was like a floating soda can trick, and then one of them was just it was like a little box, and you made this dollar bill jump from one thing to another, almost like it teleported, kind of. It was a really simple trick. I wouldn't do it today, but it was enough to impress 13, 14-year-olds.
Right, and to get you like, oh, I gotta
get
me some more of this.
Yeah, yeah.
And then when did you start performing theater also? When did that come into your life, acting?
That didn't come till a lot later. After high school, I was still doing magic. I was constantly doing magic, and my dad was like, "Hey, you should maybe take some acting classes." And all the magicians I had spoken to, older magicians, said, "Yeah, you should take acting classes. It's really good for you." And I needed it desperately because, like I said, very shy. Even making eye contact with people is very difficult. So I took acting lessons, got into it. I went to the American Academy of Dramatic Arts for the summer program that they had to audition, everything. And then when I finished that, I was still in BCC, and they had a little theater kind of program thing, a little, not really a program, but a couple theater classes and things, and I took those, and that was it. I didn't go back from there. I was like, wow, this is amazing.
And that, I'm sure, helped you with your stage presence and all of that.
Very much.
Now, as far as your magic, the set that you have now, what do you usually do? Like a 1-hour set, or it could vary?
I mostly do close-up magic. Close-up magic is my big thing. I work in a restaurant, performing like from table to table, and so I do very close-up sort of mini sets. And then when I'm hired to do outside stuff, 30, 40-minute sets, usually if I'm doing like bigger stand-up kind of stagey things.
So right now you're actually making your living as a magician?
Yeah.
All right. Now, see, that's interesting. When I say, like, if I'm going to interview an actor or a singer, I might say, okay, this is an actor, but with you, I have to say professional magician. I have to, put the professional in there, because otherwise, I don't know why people tend to magician go more towards, oh, that's a hobby, that's a...
They do.
Right.
And I've always said that whenever I actually perform and I approach a table, if I'm going to perform for them, I say, hey, I'm Eddie, I'm one of the professional magicians here, and I make sure they know that I'm not just some guy they hired outside and taught 2 or 3 tricks to.
Got it.
Yeah.
So with what you do now, your close-up magic, do you have sort of a repertoire that you've been working on since you were 14, 15, picking things up along the way? How often do you, integrate a new trick into your set, or?
Well, you're always learning new tricks. I mean, there's so much out there. Magic is 5,000, 6,000 years old. It's one of the oldest art forms there is. And so there's so much out there to learn and so many things. So I'm always learning new things. What I put into my act is not so much about the magic, it's about what jokes I'm going to tell, what I want people to feel at a certain time. So I mean, I don't mind doing any magic trick, but it's really what's going on behind the magic, what I'm saying, what I'm doing, what I'm feeling, what I'm trying to get people to feel.
Right, and all of your theater training and even probably music training helps you out with that.
So much, yeah.
See, art,
so
collaborative.
Yeah.
All right, so I think that's a good point to take our next break, and when we come back, we'll maybe see a little magic and get a little bit deeper into what we've been talking about.
Yay.
All right, ladies and gentlemen, we'll make sure that Eddie doesn't magically disappear. Stay tuned, we'll be right back.
Today, 1 out of every 4 American kids is Hispanic.
That means many of the future doctors who will care for us, the engineers who will build our cities, the scientists and entrepreneurs of our country can be your kids.
We all know how hard it is for you to send them to college. This is why we want you to know you are not alone.
And every day more people support you to make it happen. Many support you. And the Hispanic Scholarship Fund helps you prepare, plan, and pay for your kids' college education.
HSF.net.
Enroll, we say. We want you to be okay. Enroll, we say. Take care, people, for goodness sake. There's a plan for every budget, so don't accept defeat. Now you can get covered and still buy me treats.
You take care of your pets. Now it's their turn to take care of you. Visit getcoveredamerica.org to learn about your health insurance options.
And we're back here on A Life in Art with my good friend E.T. Eddie Torres. Now, Eddie, let's give the people what they want. Show us something.
Yay, this is fun. So I have a little envelope here. This is a prediction that I have, and I want to keep it totally safe. I don't want to be able to touch it. So I'm going to ask you to sit on it.
All right, I think I can manage that.
All right, now I can't get to it. You feel a little pinch, you'll know I got to it, but you should be okay. That little prediction is for a trick. This is a deck of cards. It's not a regular deck of cards, though. I've actually placed some names on this, some familiar names. Just the first name, though. So if I said Denzel, you would say?
Washington.
Yeah. If I said Sylvester?
Stallone.
Scarlett?
Johansson.
Kanye?
West.
Paris?
France. Hilton.
Rihanna?
Rihanna.
Yeah, who knows?
Yes.
But you get the basic idea. Cards are all different names, okay, different celebrities. And so what I'm going to have you do is take the entire deck.
All right.
And cut it approximately in half. Try and get it as perfect a half as you can get.
Okay.
1/2 in each hand.
Okay. I think I got that.
All right. So when I say go, you're going to throw one packet, any packet you want, up in the air behind you. Just toss it away.
All right.
Make sure you decide in your minds, you know which one you want to keep, you want to throw away.
Got it.
On your mark, get set, go. Well done, I guess. All right. One more time. Go ahead and cut it in half.
All right. I'm covered in cards, people.
1/2 in each hand.
Got it.
You're going to throw one again. You ready?
I'm ready.
On your mark, get set, go. Well done. You're very good at this. Let me have these.
Don't patronize me.
So that leaves us with a few cards in the hand, okay?
Got it.
You're going to go ahead and touch one of them. Any one you want. Just touch one. One.
Bam.
That one. Are you sure you want that one? You don't want any different one? You don't want one from the bottom?
100% positive.
All
Final
right.
answer.
Don't show it to anyone. Don't look at it yet. Just take it yourself. Put it down. All right. Now, you had a little selection here. You could have picked a lot of these. You could have picked Halle Berry. You could have picked Leonardo DiCaprio. You could have picked Taylor Swift. You could have picked Brad Pitt. You could have picked Adam
Levine.
There you go. Let's go with that one. Lindsay Lohan. Yeah, this is all, you know, Ben Affleck, Reese Witherspoon. You didn't pick any of those.
Nope.
You did pick?
I have Angelina.
Angelina Jolie, one of my personal favorites.
All right.
I gave you a prediction before we started, yeah? I didn't influence you in any way to pick any card you wanted to, pick any stack. You did everything on your own, yeah?
That's correct.
Please pass that envelope to me.
All right, here we go. It's a little flattened.
That's all right. I expected it would be. We have here a picture of Angelina Jolie.
Let's see.
Naked. At 6 months old.
I see. That's. Are we allowed to show that on public television?
I'm glad you didn't pick Halle. That wouldn't have worked so much. She's cute though. It's 6 months old. I think she's a little bit cuter now.
Oh, all right.
A little nicer now.
There you go.
Yeah, that's magic.
Eddie Torres, everybody. Eddie Torres.
More like mentalism.
That's awesome, man. I've seen you perform magic, I don't know how many times, countless times, and still every time that you do it, even if I might be somewhat familiar with the set, I have to stand and watch it again. There's just something about magic that I love.
Thank you.
So we talked about some different art forms. Obviously, magic is your preferred, your art of choice, but you're also a theater performer. You're into puppets. How did the puppet thing come about? Were you into the Muppets as a young kid, or where'd that come from?
Where did it come from? I took a puppetry class is what it was. I just thought it was interesting. Like I said, I've always been into kind of weirder, kind of like circus arts and just kind of horror stuff and things that are just strange and weird and nerdy and geeky. I think magic is one of those super ones. And puppetry is pretty nerdy.
So speaking of nerdy and geeky, you're also a wrestling enthusiast, as am I. I haven't been following so much as I used to. But yeah, did you tell me that you were going to take wrestling lessons one time, or that you were planning on possibly pursuing being a wrestler?
When I turned 18, I went to this awful wrestling school.
Oh, so you actually did it? You did go to school.
I went for like a month before I fell on my head because the guy didn't know what he was doing. And,
That's nice.
And also ran out of money. I didn't have a job at the time. I'd just gotten this job at the comic book shop, but I wasn't making that much money there. So I couldn't pay for the classes, but I I went for a month. Yeah, I really want to. To me, that's theater. That's the most famous form of American theater, definitely. You know, right now at this point, it's touring live. You know?
Yeah, for sure. I mean, they fill stadiums. I had a chance to go to WrestleMania, the one that was in Miami.
28 you went to.
Yeah,
I went to
when The
29,
Rock
yeah.
came back, all of that, and it was just a spectacle. I mean, you have jets flying over. You're there with like 60, 70,000 people screaming. You get wrapped up in it.
Fireworks.
Yeah.
Everyone's so into it. It's great. Yeah.
Yeah, and it's art. It's art, and you know, people that aren't wrestling fans always go to, oh, it's fake and this and that, but you don't know. Yeah.
So are movies, and so are
Right.
cartoons, and so are TV shows,
Right.
and everything's scripted.
Yeah, and magic isn't necessarily real. Sorry to burst your bubble. but
Yeah, and I never say it is. I don't even like the word magician.
Got it. So what do you prefer to be called then?
I have to call myself a magician. If I say I'm a sleight of hand artist or anything like that, people don't know what you're talking about. So I have to say magician, but I always tell people, you know, it's not magic, it's just tricks. I'm just very good at them. I was very lonely in high school.
So you mentioned earlier you're making a living as a magician. How long has that been happening? And your main source of income is working at the restaurant doing
Yeah.
table magic, right?
Yeah. I've been doing, let me see, I've been doing it for a living since I guess I graduated here. Like 6 months after I graduated. So I want to say like
After you graduated
2007 I
Lehman
started.
College.
Yeah.
So 2007, you've been making your living as a magician.
Mm-hmm.
You're living the dream, man. You're living the dream.
I think so.
You're pursuing your art and able to, you know, pay rent and eat food and all of that. How's that? What's your living situation like? How does that work?
It's fine. I mean, I don't, you know, it's not like I have a family. I don't have kids or anyone to take care of, so I'm okay. I get to spend everything on me and my Xbox and and my wrestling shows and my comic books.
You're a well-rounded artist, you know. You're into comics, you're into theater, you're into puppeteering, you're into sleight of hand.
Yeah.
It's all good.
Thank you.
So, E.T., we're about to wrap it up. Thanks so much for
so
being
quick.
the first guest. I know, time flies here.
Yeah.
We're going to have to extend the show. So just before we end, I just want to ask you, is there anything that, you know, that I missed, anything that you want to talk about?
I just want to do comedy and magic and skits, and I'm starting it little by little because I got to learn how to edit and all that stuff, and that's probably the most difficult thing right now is doing that, and then finding people who want to see magic. Everyone wants to see magic, I guess. Like I said, I'm shy, so going out and going, hey, want to see magic tricks is even that's difficult for me.
Got it. But on YouTube now you could reach, you know, a wider audience.
Yeah, and I
And
want
not
to
feel that personal.
Yeah, and I want to put stuff up that I don't necessarily, you know, when you do magic, everyone's like, you do kid shows.
Right.
And I'd rather I want to perform for my peers, and probably YouTube is the best setting for that.
Got it. Sounds good. I'm looking forward to it, man.
Thank you.
Thanks so much for, again, being the first one to do this. So I
glad
think
to be
that'll do
here.
it for us. That's all the time we have today. Thanks to E.T., Eddie Ivan Torres, for sharing his journey with us. If you want more information about Eddie, you can visit his website and YouTube channel. And thank you to our viewers for joining us today on this, our first endeavor. We'll be back with more stories from emerging artists in our next episodes. Thank you so much.
Thanks for watching, everybody.